morning, Michelle. I'd like to welcome you here this morning for our chat as one of our great business all-stars. So on behalf of myself and the foundation, you're very welcome. Michelle, you're one of our great business all-stars with your company, ASA Marketing. So I'd love for you just maybe to tell us a little bit about yourself and ASA Marketing.
No problem. Thanks, Elaine. This is a great opportunity. So ASA Marketing, it's a family business and we're over 36 years in business. Our headquarters are based in Cork and we have offices in Dublin and Lisburn also. And we're just in the process of opening a London office. So in terms of our core business, we have our promotional products business. And this is where we work with customers on branded promotional solutions, and we create web stores for those customers also. And secondly, we have a software business, forware.ie, where we develop central billing systems for clients, and we're in the process of working on exporting our forware.ie fleet management system called 4Fleets.
And do you know what, Michelle, it's actually great to hear of that ambition. You know, you mentioned with the opening of the London-based office,
yes.
Especially with all we've heard about Brexit and COVID and all of the challenges. So maybe just on another note, are there any particular challenges or maybe opportunities that COVID have thrown up for you?
Well, absolutely. On the promotional side of the business, I suppose we've seen a situation where customers' requirements have changed, and where our business was a lot of event business, and the events have been put on hold for now. So what we're finding is customers are asking us to send product out to their staff directly to their homes. And while they're preparing for virtual events, they're also looking at sending packs out to delegates in advance of the conferences to keep them engaged and to send them something that could be useful when they participate on their training or on their webinars. So we see this being a new area effectively for businesses in the coming months. Our software side, because we've been doing software and database management, and we've been doing direct mail business for the last 30 years odd, we're kind of ideally suited because we have the infrastructure in place to ensure that your data is secure when you send us through the databases with the customer information. We have all the protocols, we're up to speed with GDPR, and we've been working with clients on direct mail campaigns for many years. So this is effectively going back to our roots, and whilst direct mail had sort of taken a hit in the last couple of years, we see it coming back again now, and you know, your audience for your businesses are based primarily from home at the moment, so it's an ideal way to communicate with them through the post.
And do you know what, something that's really ringing through in everything you're saying, Michelle, is the longevity of the business, because you have been in business for quite a long time. So this wouldn't be literally the first, you know, stumble or roadblock that you've come across. You know, you've come through the last recession and lots of other hiccups along the way, I can imagine.
Yes, and my parents set up the business in the 80s in the middle of a recession. So I know each recession has its own challenges, and it is slightly different in the fact that our business has become more global. We work with an international network called IGC Global Promotions for businesses similar to ours across the world. We have over 50 partners. And so what we're finding is that the effect of this particular COVID situation is affecting all of our members, and all of our partners around the world are experiencing very similar situations. So we're working with the groups to find out what's working in the States, what's working in South Africa, what's working in New Zealand, and we're kind of growing with each other, trying to come up with new suggestions and new ideas for what's working in this particular environment. So.
And obviously, as you said, you know, you have seen quite a lot of growth since the 80s when your parents set up the business, and you've gone through a lot. But on that back, you probably have a lot of customers that are with you quite a long time, you know, and have an account with you. What if I was to ask them why do you think that they would say, look, that they're loyal customers of yours and that they love to do business with you, Michelle?
Well, I think it's a really good question, and customer loyalty is so important. And we have a lot of customers that have moved from different companies and continue to bring us along with them. So we really have a huge attention to detail. Our team is all about servicing the customer and going the extra mile. And in conversations with people, I always say, when you put us to the test, if something goes wrong on an order, as sometimes things do with logistics, etc., that's really when we come into our own, because we don't let the customers down, and we do our absolute utmost to ensure that they receive the best product, the best service, the best solutions for their requirements.
And I know, Michelle, that you've mentioned it, the customers to the fore, of everything that you do, and it's real centric. And having come through the Business All-Star accreditation process, as you'll know and have experienced that, you're judged, you've proven yourself on 3 main parameters: performance, trust, and customer centricity. So with regard to the Business All-Stars, what does, being a Business All-Star accredited company mean for your company, and maybe any of the advantages that it has had for you?
Well, I think it gave us an opportunity to look at a new way of judging our company, or evaluating our company. So we've had ISO accreditation for many years, and that's really focused in on the processes. And it does talk about customers and suppliers and customer satisfaction, etc. But with the Business All-Stars, it was different, because the customers were actually interviewed, the staff were interviewed, the suppliers. So everybody was involved. And it really rang home with customers and suppliers when we were able to advise that we had become a Business All-Star. There was a huge interest in, well, how does the process work? And the fact that you're independently evaluated by well-known business people is fantastic. And it gives us great confidence as well, and that we're doing a good job, which we always need to get that little pat on the back, I think.
No, of course, and no better people to tell you than your buyers, your suppliers, and your staff. So if I was to bring you back maybe to the start of the process and to say, Michelle, why did you apply, or why did you ever want to become a Business All-Star in the first place?
Well, I had, it's interesting, because I would have noticed it appear on social media. You do an absolutely great job in promoting businesses through social media. And a colleague of mine from a network that I'm in had also done the process, and I spoke to her, and we had a conversation, and I thought, I should go for this. It's a great opportunity, and there's so many companies involved. Our business is adaptable, and it's relevant for so many companies, because whether you're a small company or a large company, you have to get your name out there, and promotional product branding is ideal. So whether you have a budget of €500 or €50,000, there's something there to suit. And there's a product, exactly. So we can work with you as a client to figure out what's the best product for you and your target audience. So the Business All-Stars was it's sort of a new network, and I think networking is just fundamental to all businesses, and being able to sort of grow your network and get your name out there is fantastic. So
and just as it's great to hear, and it's should we say maybe music to my ears a little bit, to hear that it was a referral from another colleague, or another business that you saw the recommendation. So if maybe another business was to ask you, or was thinking about registering for the Business All-Stars, what would you tell them, or what would you advise them to do, Michelle?
Well, I recommended it recently, and I just saw on social media this week that Alan's business, MBC Financial, has just been awarded the Business All-Star. So that was a conversation. Alan had seen that we had become a Business All-Star, and just asked us about the process. And it's not a difficult process to get involved in. And particularly if you've some good news, or you have an anniversary, or you've been in business for a couple of years, and you just want to let people know how your business has been working over time. It's a great opportunity to get a chance to look back and see what you have achieved.
And I think it's that reflection, that giving yourself the time to be able to reflect back. And as you said, sometimes we just don't stop to think and to evaluate maybe how good we are, what we're doing right, maybe what we're doing wrong, where we could improve. And I think that's where the feedback loops comes into play. And sometimes, you hear things that maybe you may not like to hear, but you need to hear, and it's really good for your business.
Yes.
On the other hand, there might be something really good happening that maybe, that it's actually amplified through the process.
Absolutely.
So that's good to hear. So Michelle, with everything that's going on around, and at every point in time, no matter when, you talk to a business or a business person, there's always challenges and opportunities. And if I was to ask you, what is one of the greatest challenges that you see facing your company, right now, and, any plans that you have to get over that or to pivot around it?
Yes, well, I suppose we've been talking to our customers very closely over the last couple of months to find out what is their pain point, if you like, and how can ASA Marketing and Forward.ie help that. So there are opportunities coming. The conversations are happening. I suppose right now at this point in time, we're still very uncertain as to how things are going to progress. But I think it's keeping your finger on the pulse and communicating, joining the networks, listening to what's going on, and taking the opportunities as they come. And I think the networking opportunities, they're there, and it's just talking to people, isn't it? You have a conversation.
And even what you said there, it's the listening that is so important. So to listen twice as much as what you participate in, what you speak. And that's so true, because the answer to whatever it is in your head, is out there someplace, and
yes.
And like, I suppose, your mother might have said to you when you were a child, a problem shared is a problem halved. And that rings true, I think, in everything, and sometimes being able to verbalize through one of your colleagues in a network
yes.
really helps as well. So Michelle, just pretend that I'm your fairy godmother and I can allocate you some extra budget this year. What is it that you'd like to spend some extra budget on, or is there something in particular you'd like to invest in?
Well, I suppose we're working very hard on our software business and getting that internationalized. And we've been working with Enterprise Ireland, and we're very excited about the next, I suppose, 12 months initially on that business. And yes, not having to worry about the cash flow would be great, because it definitely would give you your mind could really be focused on the marketing and the contacts and just getting yourself out there. And I suppose the COVID is probably an opportunity, because when you're internationalizing a business, trying to get face-to-face meetings with companies in different countries is a challenge, but being able to now potentially do them over Zoom or over GoToMeeting means that you can still conduct your business and maybe do it from the comfort of your own office or your own home, rather than having to travel. So I think we need to embrace that.
I think the changing nature of meetings, that going forward, it's going to be so much more facilitative of people doing business internationally as well, that you don't feel that
yes.
you have to hop on a plane, to potentially attend a meeting. Yes, the human contact is very important, but there are other ways around, to complement it. I think that's a very positive that has come out of this situation. Mm-hmm. Michelle, you yourself, you've taken over the family business since the 80s. You're heading up the ship. You're the captain of the ship. What do you do for yourself, or how do you keep on top of things from, a learning perspective and keeping in tune with everything that's going on?
I suppose I do listen a lot to the news and the radio programs, and I do participate in a lot of networking events that would normally have some sort of an educational element to them. So be the guest speakers that would be involved, organizations like the Business All Stars, the webinars that you're doing regularly, and those kind of they're short sessions, but you can gain a lot of information from them. And I have a really strong network that's developed over the years of some women in business, and we meet every 2 weeks. And particularly at the moment, it's just fantastic to have a sounding board and have a group of people that you can say anything to in confidence, and help each other.
Yeah, so just, and come back to the networks again, you cannot, it's priceless, isn't it? Giving your time, and investing your time into solidifying relationships, through your network. So just because you've obviously, got a very strong network in that. So if one of your peers was to come to you and ask for advice from your own experience, so if there's another Irish business person to come and say, look, Michelle, is there any particular experience or words of wisdom that you can part with me?
Yes,
How did you do it?
Yeah, I think it's not underestimating your connections. And I suppose being very careful. You never know when a connection, a fleeting connection, is going to become a very important one. And people are moving around in business, and you have personal connections who can become business connections. So I think it's just being true and honest and having integrity when you're dealing with people, regardless of what the situation is. It comes back at just, I suppose, trying to help people as much as you can.
Yeah. And you know what, you're singing off my hymn sheet, because I'm somebody that really, really values people and connections and the interaction, but knowing the value and the worth that is within your network as well, and when it comes to, as we spoke there earlier, confiding in them, being held to account, etc. I think that's so very important. So just coming back to ASA Marketing a little bit, if I was to say, what is the difference between you and your competitors, Michelle? Because it is a competitive environment, out there, and the fact that everything is online and digital, everybody's, accessible.
Yes, absolutely. And we have, I suppose, risen to that challenge, particularly over the last couple of months of lockdown. We've been working on an online solution for customers who want to just be able to go on, order the merchandise, upload their logo in the comfort of their own home, not necessarily speak to one of our team. They know what they want, they can log on. So we have a new website which is launching this week called fastbrand.ie to allow customers to do that. And then if somebody wants to have a more one-to-one connection with one of our reps, then we can facilitate that through ASA Marketing. So someone needs a little bit more advice, needs help. So we're trying to have both options for people, and you're right in terms of the competitiveness of the business, and I think it all comes down to the customer service and communication, and why do customers come back and use ASA Marketing versus go to a competitor. And I would hope that ultimately it comes down to the people and the service that we offer to the customers.
And I think going back to the longevity in your business, it's obvious that is something that you're doing really well. So Michelle, if I was to put maybe a personal question to you, how are you successful?
I think it's definitely, I'm not successful on my own. I think being part of a family business it's phenomenal, really, the support that we give each other. I mean, my parents are still involved in the business, and my sister runs our Dublin office. She's our sales director. So we have regular meetings. We have regular family management meetings. And then we have a broader management team who are a huge support. So I think a lot of it is not feeling that you're on your own, that that you have others to be able to bounce things off and work through the difficult times.
Very good. And can I just say, what if I was to ask you, what is throughout your career, you're in the business since, when is it, the 80s yourself?
Well, 90s myself,
90s
yourself, yeah, mid-90s.
So if I just want to say, what's the biggest lesson throughout your career that you've learned?
Gosh, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think it's probably asking for help. If you if you have a situation where you can't deal with it yourself, is being able to, I suppose, talk to other people and tease it out. And that point you made earlier about a problem shared is a problem halved, it really is. And I think particularly at the moment where you need to try and keep in contact with staff, particularly at the moment, and make sure that they're up to date with what's going on, keeping all of those guys, making sure that they're doing okay working from home, and we're really trying on that level to keep people engaged and to work with them.
And that's such a strong point, and it's such a strong show of character, is the fact that to acknowledge in a time of need that you do need help and to ask for it. It's a real sign of strength rather than weakness, and acknowledging that is really, really fantastic, and it just shows why you're such a good leader, of the company as well, Michelle.
Thank
you.
Now,
Michelle, we're going to have just a little kind of a quick fire buzz around, just to maybe let you know the Michelle on the little personal side as well. So just give us maybe, the top answer that comes to your head, right? So if I were to ask you, what's your most cherished possession? Now, it can't be a person.
Probably my engagement ring.
You're engaged.
Yes, and during COVID, they recommended that you didn't wear any rings. So I had to take it off, and I missed it. I have it back on again now.
Very good.
And it just has, it's I suppose something that has great memories and continues to have
good meaning. That's very good. Very good one. If you could send some advice back in time to your 20-year-old self, what wisdom would you share?
Well, I think we've spoken a lot about networks and connections, but I think definitely that's it, not to just start building your connections and your network from the start. And LinkedIn, I suppose, is a great tool to be able to do that. We probably didn't have that at the time in starting out. We had a lot of business cards and a database with the contacts in it, but technology is making it very easy, so just make the most of that. Perfect.
Now, Michelle, tell me something, make me feel privileged. Tell me something that most people wouldn't know about you.
Oh gosh. Well, I when I was just finished college, I traveled for 12 months with an organization called Up With People, and I stayed during my year with them with over 67 host families. We were traveling all over the States and Europe, with 150 other students traveling together. So I suppose that was an experience.
Absolutely. Now I want to check out that organization. I missed out on that one.
It's still going strong actually. In different, it's morphed a little bit, but it's still going strong.
I can just imagine the cultural experience that you would have been, especially going to actual host families in the location.
Yes. Brilliant. It was incredible. Yeah, fantastic.
So Michelle, right, just assuming I'm not on the guest list, but if you were to invite any other 4 people to a dinner party, who would you invite?
Oh gosh, that's a really hard one.
You have 4 VIP tickets.
4 VIP tickets.
Which company would you love to spend an evening?
I think I'd love to meet Michelle Obama. I recently listened to her book, Becoming, and think she's an incredible leader. I think she'd be amazing. I haven't really thought about anybody else.
And you know what? Invite Michelle Barak and the 2 daughters, and you've got a fantastic.
I'd be sorted.
Fantastic. And I actually read that book, and I listened to it as well. And there's a documentary on Netflix on it as well. And it's absolutely excellent. So I would agree, she's a fantastic leader and a mother and everything else.
That's it. Yeah, juggling it all.
And what I loved as well is saying, look, bringing her children up at the White House, she always made them, tidy their own rooms, make their own beds, so she didn't take the servant, should we say, for them and for their own living quarters. And I said, oh my God, that was something else to be able to turn down and to go with. Michelle, if you had a motto in life, what would that be? So maybe a particular motto out there already that you gravitate towards.
Well, I kind of like to lead from behind. Rather than to lead from the front, and to just ensure that your team are the ones that you're sort of pushing out in front of you, and giving them the best that they can. I suppose helping them be the best that they can be. So I like that one.
No, absolutely. Michelle, it's been lovely talking to you. You've given me a great insight, not only to you as a person, but as to what the Business All-Stars means to you, and literally why ASA Marketing, is a Business All-Star, very deservingly so, because, you put the customer so centric to the center of your organization. And I know as well also that, being in a family-based company can pose its own challenges as well, because you can often just walk away from some business relationships, but your family is your family at the end of the day. So the longevity of your business and the happiness and the smile on your face even when you talk about the business just shows that you're a really, really good leader, and you're doing what you're saying and that you're leading from behind. So Michelle, if there was anybody out there that wanted to get in contact with you, how best should they do that?
Well, our website, asagroup.ie, has both sides of our businesses on the website, and certainly via LinkedIn. We're on all social media, so we're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. So we'd be delighted to talk to anyone who would like to get some more information.
Brilliant, Michelle. Michelle, it's been an absolute privilege talking to you this morning. You've given me great insights maybe into the psychology as well behind, you know, a lot of the leadership stuff, showing how that you're as good, you know, why you're so good at what you do. So Michelle
Thank
Johnston,
you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Elaine. Thank you.